Hi everybody, this is Grandad Jack, and I'm going to be starting one of those 3 projects that I talked about on my last video, and that is the bush cabin. It's not that big, it's only 18 foot by 9 foot, and I've also, which is 5.4 by 2.7 meters, I'm also building it on blocks, so it's actually not permanent. It's relocatable or transportable, and so I'd like to show you how I build a bush cabin with Grandad Jack. This is the first part of it anyway, the base stage. This is a side view of the cabin. It has a cathedral ceiling in that the rafters go up to a ridge beam on a 30-degree angle, so it gives it a bit more space inside. I've set out here basically where the cabin is going to sit. There's actually 2 of them. So we're going to take the grass off the top and then sit the building on pads. These will be treated pine blocks, wooden blocks that it'll sit on. So the first thing we need to do is to remove the grass from the top. So we've got some solid foundation for the blocks to sit on. So the idea is to get this reasonably level. Main thing is just to get some solid dirt that we can sit the blocks and the flooring on. Now we've taken the grass off the top, we just need to dig individual spots for each pad so that they can sit flat and level. The variation in height can be adjusted by stacking the blocks on top of each other and gluing them together. I've painted the underside of the treated pine blocks with a bitumen paint. This stops the moisture absorbing into the wood. I then start laying these blocks with the bitumen side down in line on a string line. The idea is to get the first pad level on the ground so that the others will be level as you stack them on top of each other. You may have to get the ground level by tapping it down or getting a shovel and taking some dirt out here and there, just so that the bottom pad sits level and sits firm into the ground. Once we've done that, we're going to put the first bearer down and level that, and we can use treated pine blocks to get that level. I've used a 4" by 4" treated pine bearer for the base. I've got a large square I made also, just to make sure that the corners are square to the string line. I've also used a line level to get the string level. I've used liquid nails to join the blocks together. I screw the bearer to the block and screw it both sides. Once I've done that, then I put in a star picket. I put the star pickets in 2 at each end and also in the middle. These have a hole at the top, so I positioned the star picket so that I can put a screw through the hole and into the timber. These star pickets are enough to anchor the whole building in place. I do this as well at the other end and then put a bearer on the outside edge in line with the string line and make sure everything's level. At this stage I do the four corners and then just fill in between as I go around. I've also put angle brackets to help secure the bearers to each other. So this is what it looks like when all the pads are in place and the bearers are down and it's all screwed and glued together, and the star pickets are put in here and there and screwed to the bearers to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. I've checked the level on all of these and that all is fine. It's now ready to put the floor joist on. I do a double floor joist at the end where the floor sits, where the wall will be sitting on top of these, so it's just extra to carry the weight. I've spaced the floor joists at 450 centres. This also coincides with the lengths of the sheet flooring so that they can be joined on a floor joist. These are actually 5-inch floor joists or 120mm, and essentially 4-inch would do the job or 100mm, but I've gone extra with these. So now that the floor joists are all nailed down, we can then start putting the sheet flooring on. I also glue the sheet flooring to the floor joist. That way it stops any squeaking or movement of the floor. The floor sheets are 3.6 metres long or 12 foot by 800 millimetres wide. I like to put one nail in the corner first to make sure that's in the right place, and then put the other sheet on before I nail it all down to make sure it's a nice straight line at the front. So I look along the front of the flooring to make sure it's all straight. You can use a string line to do this also, but I find if you look along the edge you can get a pretty good line on it. Once that's all nailed down, we can put the glue down on the next row and put the next sheet down. I stagger the joins of the sheet so that they're not all in one line at the join. And I tap it in with a larger hammer and a piece of wood, make sure it's all in line. I've nailed and glued all the sheets down on the first one now. I've also made sure that the joins of the sheets are in the middle of a floor joist, as shown here. So now that that's done, we can look at starting the next one. I'm building two of these buildings, which are exactly the same. So I've done the pads and the bearers and the floor joists all exactly the same as the first one. So like the first one, I put glue down first and then I put the sheet on and nailed that onto the floor joist. So the second cabin floor is done. This is sitting on the pads and anchored with star pickets, the same as the first one. Now I can get ready to do the framework on both of them. So this is the base stage of my bush cabin. On a next upcoming video, I will show you how I do the framework. So I hope you enjoyed watching how I do a bush cabin with Grandad Jack, and I will see you on the next video.